everyone, and welcome back to the Greenbell YouTube channel. In today's video, we are talking about gut health, as you can probably tell from today's title. So today we're just going into some really basic information on gut health, not diving in too deep into all of the gut connections, but just giving a little bit of information about what is it, how can we spot if we have any issues with our gut, and what are some basic things that we can do to help create harmony in our gut and establish a healthy gut microbiome. So first, let's start off with, what is it? So our gut health essentially is our microbiome. So our microbiome you can think of as a community, a colony of different bacteria. What we want it to be is mostly good. It actually contributes to 70% of our immune system, which is absolutely crazy. So you can think of our gut as contributing to so many different physiological symptoms and pathways in our body, and everything is just so interconnected with our gut. And a lot of our brain hormones are released and managed through our gut and our intestines. So you can think of, for example, some of the neurotransmitters that are regulated by our gut include serotonin, dopamine, GABA. These are all some neurotransmitters that are regulated through our gut. And all of these control our emotions and our feelings and our sleep patterns and how we deal with stress. Cortisol is another big one. So cortisol is our stress hormone. You can think of our gut being in imbalance can actually increase our cortisol production and cortisol release into our body, causing us to basically go into a chronic fight or flight mode, which causes even more stress all over in our body. So what are the benefits of having a healthy microbiome? This is a really good place to start. Is why do you want a healthy microbiome? For starters, a healthy gut is a direct correlation with a healthy brain. So you can't have one or the other. When you have a healthy gut, you have a healthy brain. You have good hormones and good neurotransmitters running through your body that make you feel good, moderate your sleep, moderate your stress levels, and also moderate your emotion. Your gut also plays a huge role in your immune system. So you have a healthy gut, you are less likely to get sick with infections, you are less likely to get the cold or the flu. You are going to have a more resilient body and a better functioning immune system when your gut is happy and healthy. When your gut is overridden with bad bacteria, that is when things like gut issues and other issues can happen in our body that manifest in acne and inflammation, eczema, and exacerbate autoimmune disease symptoms. Having good bacteria in our gut, so a healthy microbiome, helps with good digestion. When we have the proper bacteria in our gut, it helps aid in digestion. It makes things move along better. It also helps with us actually absorbing the nutrients we're putting in our body. We could be eating all the healthy stuff in the entire world, full of vitamins and minerals and antioxidants, yet we're not actually absorbing that because our gut is off. So you also need to make sure that your gut is healthy so that you actually can benefit from all the foods that you are internally ingesting and be able to actually absorb the nutrients, the vitamins, the minerals, all the essential micronutrients that our body needs. Having a healthy gut also is correlated with having a healthy weight. Having an unbalanced microbiome can actually contribute to weight gain, and so it has kind of been seen that when you take probiotics and start implementing things to help reestablish a healthy microbiome, that you actually subsequently lose weight. So there has been a correlation there, and I find that extremely interesting, but it does make a lot of sense too. You're going to feel happier and healthier, and that ties into my last point with the absorption of all the vitamins and nutrients and minerals that your body needs to function properly. Another thing is that having a healthy gut contributes to calcium absorption, which means stronger, healthier bones, which is super important. You can be, again, consuming a bunch of calcium rich foods but not actually benefiting from them because you're not absorbing it. The other thing is having a healthy gut can also mean healthy gut lining. When you have a weak gut lining, or what we call a permeable or leaky gut, essentially you're allowing things that are supposed to stay in the intestines and be excreted out of your body in poop into the rest of your body and into your bloodstream, which can cause an inflammatory response. You may feel crampy, bloated, you may exacerbate autoimmune symptoms, or feel like your autoimmune disease is totally out of control as a result of this. So helping to reestablish a healthy gut is also going to help kind of seal up that permeability of your gut lining, and therefore reduce leaky gut and all the other subsequent things that leaky gut cause. Now that you know all the reasons why you want a healthy gut, how do you know if your gut is healthy? Well, you definitely can go to your doctor, you can go to a naturopath and kind of establish a baseline of how your gut is, but there's also a few symptoms you can look out for that will give you some signs that your gut may be a little out of whack. So what are some signs of a bad gut? You may have some digestive problems or digestive symptoms. You may have constipation, chronic constipation, or a lot of diarrhea, chronic diarrhea. You also may have abdominal cramps, stomach cramps, bloating, excessive gas, things that are just making you feel very uncomfortable in this lower intestine region. So that is definitely a sure sign that you may have some gut issues. Keep in mind though that that also could be related to a food allergy or food intolerance. This can also be linked with a bad gut, but these symptoms can be related to food poisoning or consuming something that you actually have an allergy to. So it is important that you want to rule out if you have a food allergy. If this has been something chronic that you've dealt with, it could actually be that you have an intolerance or an allergy to gluten, for example. You may have celiac disease or dairy. You may be dairy intolerant or lactose intolerant. So these are some things to keep in mind. These would obviously need to be diagnosed by your physician, so definitely consult your physician if you're dealing with these symptoms and it doesn't seem to be related necessarily to a poor gut health. If you have extreme fatigue all the time, this could be a symptom of an unhealthy gut, because like we were talking about earlier, our gut definitely is related to our brain, it's related to our hormones and our neurotransmitters. So you may feel tired all the time because of an imbalance in those hormones and neurotransmitters. You also may getting lack of sleep, so you may be super tired but having unrestful sleep, so that when you do go to sleep at night, you're unrestful, you're not going into REM sleep, you're not going into deep sleep, you're not dreaming. Things like that could be a sign that you're not actually having a restorative sleep. Skin issues, this is a huge one, and this is something that I will definitely go in more into depth in another video talking about the gut skin connection. But having an unhealthy gut can also contribute to poor skin. That could be exacerbating eczema. It could also contribute to acne and breakouts all the time. So this is one thing that I'm sure motivates a lot of people to get their gut in check, is because they are tired of dealing with acne. You may also have symptoms of depression, anxiety, instability in your mood changes, etc. This could also be related to gut health. Like we said, that brain gut connection really does contribute to our emotions. You may also have exacerbation in your symptoms of an autoimmune disease if you have one. It could also cause as well recurring infections, and this is because our immune system again is linked to our gut. 70% of our immune system is in our gut, and so if you feel like you're constantly getting sick or infections, then that is another symptom. I also just want to disclaim that with all of these symptoms, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's related directly to your gut health, and that all the things that we're going to get into for how to kind of reestablish a healthy gut isn't necessarily going to fix some of these symptoms if they are related to another issue. So it's always a good idea to consult your physician first, but all of these things that I'm going to be suggesting to help boost your immune system are healthy things that you can do regardless, and kind of just help your gut to begin with. So all of my suggestions to help rebuild your gut are healthy to do regardless. So let's get into it. So one of the first tips I have is to eliminate sugar, sugar alcohols, artificial sweeteners. So we're talking corn syrup, any alcohol, sugars, and artificial sweeteners. It's just these no calorie Splendas and stuff. Just avoid them. Our gut doesn't like them. It actually feeds our bad bacteria, which we want to avoid. Some of my suggestions for more natural sweeteners: maple syrup is a good one in moderation. Everything in moderation, especially when it comes to sugars. I mean, at the end of the day, sugar is sugar. So there are better sources of sugar, I want to say, more natural sources of sugar. But if you just have exuberance amount of these healthier, more natural sugars, then you're still going to have issues. So keep that in mind. So maple syrup, manuka honey is really great because it's also super anti-inflammatory. Yacon syrup has been a pretty more recent discovery for me, and that one's really cool. Like even sugars like coconut sugar, which is something I use more in baking. Stevia, liquid stevia I've used for baking. Again, I use very minimal of it. And these are all things that you can kind of put into your teas and coffees, not something that you want to have a lot of. And other terms of sugars I want to say is natural sugar from whole foods, like whole fruits. So we're thinking berries, bananas, apples, watermelon, oranges. If you're eating a whole fruit and you're getting fructose, which is the sugar molecule that is in these fruits, that is okay. If you see fructose in a packaged product, that's when I would say just avoid it. Stick with your whole foods, your whole fruits for your source of sugar. Which brings me to my next point about whole foods versus packaged foods. You want to have a pretty predominant diet full of whole foods, things that do not have an ingredient label. If you are having a lot of foods that are packaged and have an ingredient list, then you are consuming too many pre-packaged foods or processed foods potentially. So my suggestion is follow the 80-20 rule. Try to do 80% of whole foods, so things that don't have an ingredient list like yams, vegetables. I mean, yam is a vegetable. If things have an ingredient label, minimize that to about 20% of your diet. And I would even then recommend that your packaged foods have a very minimal ingredient list. Ingredients that you can actually read and understand exactly what is inside of the food product that you're purchasing. So avoid prepackaged processed foods. Stick with 80% whole foods, 20% packaged foods with still a limited ingredient list of things you actually know what they are. Really increasing your vegetable intake, your fruit intake, your fiber intake. These are all things that are going to help to replenish our gut. It's going to help feed our gut microbiome, but it's also going to, for example, fiber, move things along. You also want to consume prebiotic foods, which are basically kind of confusing because you're like, prebiotics, probiotics, what's the difference? Prebiotics actually help feed our good bacteria, whereas probiotics kind of help to give us that good bacteria. So prebiotic foods, I'll leave a list down here or up here on the screen and also in the description box down below, so you have a reference of what are some prebiotic foods that you can consume. Now going on to probiotics, you can consume foods high in probiotics, so things that are fermented, sauerkraut, kimchi, kefir, kombucha is another one. You can make your own kombucha. I'm sipping some GTs. This is the Gingerade organic and raw kombucha. And again, this is part of my like 20%, part of my 20 rule. This is a packaged food. It does have an ingredient list, but the ingredient list is also really minimal, and I know everything that's in the ingredient list. For example, water, kombucha culture, which consists of yeast, bacteria cultures, kiwi juice, black tea, green tea, and fresh pressed ginger juice. This whole thing is only 50 calories and it has 12 grams of sugar from the natural juices. So that is, and also you have to feed the bacteria with sugar, so that's what the kiwi juice is for, is to feed that bacteria so it grows. So this is definitely one of my favorite kombuchas. There are a few kombuchas on the market that are super high in sugar, super high in calories, and it's just not worth it. So just make sure you go with a kombucha that you read the label thoroughly. You know that on the actual nutrition value list where it tells you the volume, make sure the volume's actually for the whole bottle. Sometimes I've seen that it's only for half of the bottle, so just be mindful of that as well. And one of my last tips is to start taking a high quality probiotic. So what do I necessarily mean by high quality? There are so many probiotics on the market, but you want to make sure that you are getting the biggest bang for your buck. So one thing to look out for a good quality probiotic is the amount of CFUs, so how many. This one has 27 billion CFUs. I would say around that mark and above is a great place to start. And the other thing is to look out for how many strains. So this has 14 different strains of bacteria. So you really want to build up the diversity in your microbiome. Having one strain, a lot of one strain, is not as beneficial as having a little bit less of numerous different strains. Highly recommend this brand. I really have enjoyed Nova Probiotics and really like these. So high quality foods, supplements that I've tried are by the brand The Beauty Chef. Also focuses a lot on gut health, and they have a few different formulas, powder, as well as kind of these syrup elixirs. So this one is the collagen inner boost. So in conjunction with having probiotics and prebiotics, it also has a few other antioxidant and plant-based ingredients that kind of help with its specific benefits. So this one is collagen, boosting collagen in our body. This one is glow, so it helps boost internal glow for your skin. So this again is a biofermented superfood. It has prebiotics and probiotics, as well as some other high superfood ingredients in here that just contribute to a good health. So that is it for today's video. Just a super quick rundown about what gut health is, what are some of the signs that you might have poor gut health, and how you can replenish it. So definitely make sure to continue following along if you want to see a video where I kind of go a little bit more in depth with the gut skin connection, because I know we all want beautiful skin, and a lot of it has to do with internal work and not solely what we put on our skin. So I will definitely be coming out with a video talking more specifically about the science between the skin-gut connection, as well as some other helpful tips and tricks. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you have any questions about gut health, or you want some additional resources for how I really kind of inform myself about gut health, then definitely leave the comments down below, and I will be sure to get back to you. Bye guys.